Antoinette, thank you so much for being here. I am very excited to talk to you today because I might have mentioned, but this is all fairly new to me when it comes to herbs and oils and really practicing self-care as well as, for women's health as well as for sexual reasons. So I feel like we might cover just a lot of great different insights by talking with you today. So I appreciate your time and sharing with us.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm excited to be sharing the information and that it could really help others and for everyone's vitality. I'm here to be of support.
Wonderful. So because it all is very new, can you share a little bit with us about yourself and how you came even to start training in herbalism, as well as a little bit about your website and just what you're providing today? It just would be great to hear a little bit of your backstory.
Absolutely. So I really believe that what we need to heal is also medicine and offerings and healing for others. So, I've been on my spiritual path for many years, and there's been different layers. When I was younger, I was bullied and I went through deep depression, and I started traveling, and I really got to connect to nature and really feel the joys of being in nature and traveling in that. And as I traveled, I found different teachers and different modalities. And on that path, I started healing different things. And one day, because I had so much depression, I started taking herbs, and one of them in particular was reishi. And reishi really helped uplift my spirit and really helped me get out of this deep funk. And it wasn't just the herbs, it was also the practices I was learning. And I continued on my path, and I also had some sexual trauma, and I was working with a guide, and the guide helped me release some of the trauma and working with these different native practices. And it was a really beautiful experience. But one thing, there was a lot of the release of it, but also one thing, when I make love to my husband, I would still see the image of the man when we make love. And it was pretty traumatic to still feel the guy, the image, and he was taking over my mental body and just my mind. And it was really hard to have that deep love making.
Mm-hmm.
So when I finally decided to go into herbal medicine, I worked with an herb specifically, and I worked deeply with one herb, and the herb is yarrow. So I took that herb's name, yarrow, and the herb yarrow really created a shield and a boundary around my mental body, my spiritual and my emotional body. And the guy, the image of him disappeared. I stopped seeing him when I was making love. And also I was able to really balance out my endocrine system and feel juicy in my own sexuality. So it really nourished my reproductive system. And two of the herbs was shatavari and damiana. And with the other practices that I had learned in my path, to help clear the womb space of trauma, I was able to just feel more empowered and alive. So I learned not only, that the herbs are really amazing healing tools, but also I learned the physiology behind it. What is the science behind the herbs to really help someone? So now, I have women coming to me for, they have sexual trauma, or they might have something going on with their womb, and I help uncover what's going on. And together, we come up with a plan so that they can feel empowered and heal themselves and become empowered and manifest what they want. And it could be, sexual pleasure. It could be, fertility. It could be even hormonal, they want to, their hormones are affecting their sexuality. So there's a lot of different pathways that a woman could take with herbs and the different practices that I've learned.
That's incredible. And thank you for sharing a little bit about your path and how you got here today. And then, just so many things I think women can relate to, whether or not they have had a trauma or they are, their hormones are out of balance, or with fertility as well. So can you give us an example, or is there a range of women that you treat? Like, do you tend to focus on certain age range, or can you share a little bit about who you like to serve?
Absolutely. So, a lot of the women who come to me are wanting something deeper. They've tried maybe traditional therapies or medicine and they haven't worked. And they're wanting, like, their soul is wanting something like to explore a deeper realm of themselves. So they come to me, they could be in transition. And I've worked with women in their late 20s and they're going through a lot of transition into their 30s, discovering who they are. They might have anxiety or depression. Maybe their sex life isn't what they want it to be, or their relationship isn't what they want it to be. So I really help them wake up to themselves through the herbs. Another woman who can be coming to me is in her late 30s or early 40s, and she really wants to find the relationship, and she may have even been diagnosed with fibroids or hypothyroidism, and they want one or the other. They want love or that, to be able to have this chance to have a baby. And I help guide them to really wake up to what their body wisdom is sharing with them, so that they can slow down, listen to what their body's teaching them, and they can clear that out of the way and really have what they desire. Another woman who comes to me is a menopausal woman or perimenopausal. She's having hot flashes. She's wanting to really embrace the wise woman in her, and even her sexuality is out of balance. And I help guide her to the same thing, clearing out what is out of balance, giving her herbs to help her come into balance. And then she's really claiming her wisdom years of sharing, what she's learned all these years to the younger generation. And so I don't really specifically say I'm working with a woman who's 20 or 30. It's really the woman who wants something deeper and who wants to explore herself in a new way and wants the empowerment with the herbs.
Mm-hmm. That's incredible. And I like the different snapshots, of who, because I think a lot of us could relate to any woman that you described. And so I have a few questions, but one in particular comes to mind is how, because I think we're so, busy right now and so distracted, whether it's online, social media, or just in our day to day. So how do you help someone kind of get back in touch with their body? Because I think I just believe the Western society, we're very like mind driven and, a lot of like logic and heavy in the mind and maybe not so much in the body. So is there, just to give us an example of like how you could help someone bring a little more clarity into their space to even feel that the body's off, like how would someone do that?
So the body has this inherent intuition, body wisdom, and a lot of people wait for a long time to even listen, and pain is a big motivator. So if someone is in pain, they might have had this really bad heartbreak, or they've had fertility challenges where they've had something really off, such as a physical manifestation of fibroids or a cyst, or their hormones are really, they have like a temper during their menopausal hot flashes. So pain is a big motivator, and if they're that much in pain, the body is sharing with them, hey, listen to me, and that's their way to slow down. Or they may be even waking up feeling like so off balance. And I think a lot of people can relate, because a lot of the clients that come see me is they've been noticing that there's signs, but they kept ignoring them. And because they got busy with their life, of their career, or busy doing so many things and being on social media. And I just help them to realize, okay, this pain is sharing with them to slow down. And I help give them some simple tools to help them slow down, so that they can get out of their pain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely understandable. And I can relate to that, of where, the body's trying to say hi. And,
Uh-huh.
it probably starts off a little slower. And then,
Yes.
when you don't listen, then other things can happen. So I definitely understand that. Um, that is great. And so in terms of dealing with herbs, because I have had the opportunity to travel a little bit and go to China and see how they've used herbs in their medicine, even in their hospitals and their
Mhm.
prescriptions. But it's still really foreign, I would say, to me, even though I've sort of seen it.
Yeah.
Um, how how do you, like, I know you mentioned Yarrow and a few others. So can you describe maybe overall how herbs do work and how people, like, quote unquote, take them? Because I think for someone like myself, like, it's we know pills, like we'll take them in the morning and at night or something like that. Like, how does the herb, help the body?
Absolutely. So herbs work on the physiology body, the emotional body, and the spiritual body. So depending on, and they work simultaneously. So depending on what your intentions are, let's say we'll take something simple like anxiety. Someone's feeling really anxious and everyone can relate. So an herb that works with anxiety, one of the properties is that it's a nervine, and a nervine helps to just calm down the nervous system, and it will work with just calming it down. And so the emotional body that it might be working with, it could also be helping just that feeling of calmness. And maybe it's helping to just work on calming the body and helping to ease some of the worry. And some of the properties may help like ground the person so they're not constantly spinning in their anxiety. Okay. And um, and on the spiritual level, some of these herbs, I'm just thinking of one right now called lemon balm, is it'll help just calm the body, help, ease the stress, and then also at the same time bring upliftment so that the person isn't stuck in that nervousness. It can also bring some light. So there's some light that can be brought into that person. And so you're working with these herbs and they're working on the physiology level, like I said, the physical, but there's also other components if you spend the time to work with a practitioner in the right way, if they have that training, is that they can help pull some of those stuck emotions. The herbs can help move some of those stuck emotions so that you're not being trapped in them over and over again.
Mhm.
And there are certain herbs that work specifically with different organ systems, and each organ system has an emotion to them. So you're just not going over and over being stuck in this emotion. It helps to free you from that.
Wow. It's very powerful, I would say, especially if, we kind of get trapped in, like, our own sort of rhythms and how we view things. And I can see that that would really help the momentum of clearing things. So,
Absolutely.
and I'm just thinking, so usually it's, with like herbs and water or things like that, like people, I know with, obviously with tea, it's hot water, but is that typically how someone ingests them?
So if someone has an aversion to alcohol, they can steep the tea. So the way that I work is I work with extracts, and you can extract the herb either into an alcohol medium. And the reason why you're using alcohol is because it's a really great way to extract the medicinal qualities and extract them into a very concentrated form of the medicines. And you're using the entire plants so that all the different constituents are going into the alcohol. And some people are like, well, it's alcohol. And I say, well, it's the same amount as it would be in less than a kombucha or less than like a ripened banana. Anything that's fermented, there's a little bit of alcohol. So it's not a large amount when you are taking it. And it's a concentrated amount so that your body can have the medicines. And then you can just either take take the herbs directly into your mouth, or you add it to water. And usually when you're working with herbs, it's not just one herb, you're working with different ones depending on what the person needs. So we usually add an adaptogen, and the adaptogen works directly with the hypothalamus to help rewire the neurons and help you to adapt to stress. And then we look at what other body systems would need support. And it's kind of an art to making a formula, an herbal formula, because you're looking at, okay, what does the person need? Are they hot or cold? What emotional things? What spiritual components may they need support with? So it's using like your left brain, but also using like your intuition and adding some kind of magic to the herbal medicine.
That's really cool.
And yeah, it's actually really, really cool.
Yeah. Great. Well, I know that I've seen some on your website. Can you share anything about like maybe any of your favorites that you have and sell on your site?
To say that there's a favorite is kind of challenging because there's so many beautiful herbs out there, and they all want to shine. There is one product that a lot of people have been purchasing from me, and it's called the Erotic Love Elixir. And that one has Damiana, shatavari, hawthorn, rose, cinnamon, and it's extracted in tequila and it has some honey. And what that one does is hawthorn and rose help open up the heart for self-love. Also help release any heartache, and also like it also helps you to open up your heart for self-forgiveness and forgiveness of others. So if your heart is feeling stuck, then here's a great herb to help open up your own heart. And I think that one can resonate with a lot of women, because when women come to me, one of the things that is always prevalent is self-love. Like there's always criticism or doubt, so many things that women hold on to. Do you agree?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So these have heart-opening herbs, and there's also herbs to stimulate and to support the reproductive system, such as Damiana, which just brings like calms down the nervous system and helps a woman relax into her own body so that she could feel like, her own pleasure. And the shatavari helps with allowing the woman to feel juicy and wet, and also is a great menopausal supportive herb. So in combination, women use this to help bring like that juiciness back into their life, to help libido, to help open up their heart. And when they use it with their partner, they have like just this deeper connection with their partner. I've had so many instances with my clients saying like, I've used it and they've released some sexual shame, or they've had like this big heart-opening experience with their partner that they haven't had before, or they've had more expansive orgasms, or they've deepened in their self-love. So it's pretty exciting seeing how herbs can work if you formulate them in the right way, that they can really uplift someone and really benefit them in really juicy, pleasurable ways. And that's really fun.
That's very fun. And I can definitely see that, especially, I don't know if this has anything to do with it, but I think women, most of us are working and, trying to do a little bit of everything, like career, some children for some, and, exploring just like fertility or starting your own business and things like that. And so we really have come a long way. But also I think sometimes like the feminine part of us is a little on the back seat, just because we're trying to present in a certain way and really make sure we're, doing a career and being professional in a corporate setting. But I think sometimes that tends to then, push down maybe our like luscious, feminine creative vibes, which is, it sounds like, are still there. They're just maybe a little more dormant because we're not really expressing them. Um, so yeah, that's incredible. Um, well, I know, you were talking a little bit about self-care and self-love, which I know even for myself, I try to really focus on it and, do different things. Now that I'm in my 30s, I'm a little more aware of taking care of myself because, this is one body we have for this lifetime that we're
Mhm.
here. So are there things that you see or things that you can recommend for women to focus on self-care and self-love?
Absolutely. So that's a big task, but it could be simple. And it just is doing it in the morning or the evening, is spending even 5 to 10 minutes on just a practice for them to ground, maybe drinking some tea to help calm them down, or help them like open up their heart to self-love. And it's really just taking that time and being consistent with this thing that they're doing for themselves daily. And it's starting off small, and then even scheduling time in out of the week, to have some self-care and making it a priority and making it that one of those dates that you don't change regardless of what's going on. And some of the self-care could be hanging out with girlfriends or doing a spa day. And regardless, it's like keeping that commitment to yourself, because as you know, you have to keep yourself full in order to give. And so many people and women are giving so much that their cup isn't full, and then they get depleted, and then their adrenals start to get depleted, or their nervous system starts to get depleted, and then they'll get out of balance. So just doing the small things daily and then something larger during the week is amazing.
Mhm. Okay. I know I've even found just like simple things like, body scrubs in the shower. And
Mhm.
I love that. And it really just changes. Like, I think it just calms me down if I've had sort of a day, that's just been all over the place. And there's just lots of, I think, like you said, little ways, but if you're consistent, it really feels good and it connects like the body, mind, spirit connection. Um,
Mhm.
so that's great. And so, as you've been, I know you do a lot of different things, and I do want to talk a little bit about your site and how people can find you,
Mhm.
and just different things that you might have online for folks that, could be anywhere. But one other thing I wanted to ask is, and maybe it is the self-care and self-love, but if patients that you see and clients that you work with could do one thing differently for themselves, do you know what that would be?
I would go back to that self-care is really prioritizing themselves, because that's where the changes come in. It really does. And like you said, the body scrubbing, like I love body scrubbing. It's just making it a ritual to do something to slow down, because the body needs to slow down in order to wake up and to be able to feel alive again. So it's like you need to slow down because we're getting ourselves busy. And the slowing down might be, hey, I need to go out into nature, and without needing to hike up to the hill so fast. This weekend, I saw thousands of ladybugs, which was amazing. And I really think ladybugs are good omens. And the reason why I was able to see them is because I didn't have my phone on me, or I had my phone on airplane mode. And I was just listening to nature, and I'm like, wow, what is that? And there was just these swarms of ladybugs, and everyone was just passing by because they were hiking so fast. And the only other people who could see them were the kids. They're like, oh my God, there's ladybugs. So it was cool analogy to, hey, slow down, because there could be magic right in front of you if you can slow down.
Absolutely. There's a quote, if there's magic all around you, if you believe, and I feel like if you slow down, because it's there, but you could just be passing it.
Yes, absolutely. I really love that quote too.
Yeah. Well, great. Well, Is there, anything else that you wanted to share just about, obviously, I think women will be listening to this, and anyone that is in like late 20s, early 30s that, might be early married or maybe even gotten a divorce recently or single. Um, Anything that you might recommend or want to talk about before we get to your site?
So if they're early married, they just got married, I really believe that not losing yourself, because you could be a woman who is, it's very common for women once they get partnered is to forget about all their practices and to give everything to the man, and really don't lose yourself in relationship, and to cultivate that, whether it is with herbs or it's about self-care. Take care of yourself, because the more you take care of yourself, the more that you could give to your partner and connect. So I think that one is a really great one. You can even drink rose tea with your partner if you are in a new relationship, to have like that heart opening experience with, your new beloved.
I love that.
Yeah.
Great reminder, because I know I've done that before in the past, of given too much in relationships, and then, it's out of balance for both of the people in the relationship. And I think just remembering that, like, connecting with friends and yourself and your hobbies are really important. Um,
Yeah, and just to share, I mean, I've seen this so many times, and unfortunately, I have a really good friend who's going through separation because she just stopped taking care of herself, and she needed this separation with her ex-partner in order for her to really remember, okay, I need to remember self-love and to take care of myself. And so, before it's too late, really start taking care of yourself and start really deepening your self-love, because it's so important.
Agree. Yes, there's someone that I know as well that's happening, and I've done it before too. So it's definitely really important to keep in the back of your mind and know that we as women, I think that's just what we want to do, and it's great to give, but also receive it from ourselves too, is to really keep ourselves top of mind.
Yes. And your friends. That's why we have girlfriends. Or
Yes, we need each other to keep each other in check and keep going. Yeah.
absolutely.
Well, this was really fascinating. I feel like we only just talked about the top of everything, but it's still shared great insight just to even start understanding herbs, and really self-exploration and getting
Mm.
in touch with your body and your emotions more. Um, where, if someone wants to learn a little bit more about you, Antoinette, or what you're doing or anything you can offer, can you share a little bit about your site and those things?
Absolutely. Thank you for asking. My website is antoinetteyarrow.com. And I do focus on sexual empowerment, love, and fertility, but that also is inclusive of, someone may be coming to me with anxiety and depression because they've had heartbreak or they're going through something. So it is all of the women's health. That it's inclusive of that as well. So I take someone, if they want to go on this deeper journey, they could do a 40-day healing journey with me, and giving them some herbs and practices to really step into that new phase if they're going through transition. I also do herbal consultations. We can work one-on-one. I have FaceTime clients or Zoom clients as well as in person. So don't let technology can be a tool, just like you and I are using it right now. And there's different diagnostic tools that I use, and I see myself as intuitive, so there's a lot of intuitive hits that I'll get. And in addition, I have a consultation form where I'll do a diagnostics that way and see, okay, where is something excessive or deficient, and I'll use that tool to back up everything. So there's a lot of science behind it. And then, I'll mail off your herbs to you. So depending on what you're going through, like I said, a lot of women come to me because they're in transition and they're wanting, or they're in pain and they're wanting more support, I can help you with your different challenges, whether it's love or sexual empowerment or fertility. And of course, menopausal support.
Great. Well, thank you so much for sharing a little bit about yourself and what you do today. I think it's fantastic and fascinating, and I think women will really enjoy it. And I will, of course, put your website directly below this video, and then also share it too when we send it out with the group. But I just want to say thank you again, and I really hope we'll talk again in the future. This has been a pleasure, and thank you for sharing your insights.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thanks.